keep me on my feet.
Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome to another YouTube video. My name is Juliet Okulu, and if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a returning subscriber, like guys, I am really grateful. Thank you for all the love, thank you for all the comments. I love you guys. So today I am here with my husband.
Cheers.
Say hello.
Hello.
So I've been getting a lot of requests. Hey Juliet, can you tell us more about your relocating to the United Kingdom with your spouse through masters to the United Kingdom? So I just decided to come out here because my husband did most of the things. So we just decided to come out here and give you guys all the information you need, like from the beginning of the masters till the very end. So he will be saying most of the things because he did it for me. So introduce yourself.
Hello. So my name is Dr. Luke, and like you all know, the master's route is probably the fastest route to live, especially if you're not a professional, and it's actually very easy to do, and it's also very capital intensive, but I can assure you that if you put in the work, it's going to be worth it. So the first thing you do if you've decided to relocate through the master's route is do a basic research about your course, the course you want to offer. Yes, you should marry what you study in the university with what you want to do in masters, but most importantly, you should be able to look for a master's course that aids you postgraduate. That's when you're done with the masters, a course that allows you find a work that would most likely give you tier 2 sponsorship, a job that would help you get sponsorship
After your studies.
Yes, after your studies. Then once you've done that basic research, and then you now know, okay, this is the course I want to study, the next thing you need to do is you need to gather what you need for your application. And that's the first thing you need is your degree certificate. Of course, you can't start masters without your degree certificate. For some of you who do not have your degree certificate, statement of results to suffice. Then you need proof of English. This can come in the form of WAEC or NECO. Some schools would accept WAEC, some schools would accept NECO. Some schools will also take that they won't accept a WAEC that is more than 5 years. But such schools will not tell you that they will take a letter of proficiency from your university. That's your university needs to write them a letter telling them that, oh, this person was taught and examined in English. The next thing you can also use as proof of English is your IELTS. So these are the things you can use as proof of English. Then the other thing you need is your transcript. Of course, most schools now, you should be able to get the student copy of your transcript. You don't, for UK schools, you really don't need to have your school send your transcript to the university. Once you go apply for your transcript and get the student's copy, during your application, you're going to be uploading that student's copy of a transcript. You don't really need your school to just go sending them off to the university anymore. After your transcript, the next thing you're going to need to get is your reference, because most schools will tell you that they need 2 references. Some schools would usually tell you to fill in the reference and then they'll send the reference to the person for them to fill out. Some schools will tell you that you can actually upload an already written reference. So when the time comes, you know what your school wants. And if you're going to have if you are applying to a school that sends out the email to the referee to fill out, so you need to chase them and make sure that, oh, they open their mails and then fill out the reference for you, because it's important. Most schools will not process your admission if they do not have your reference letters. Then the next thing will be the personal statement. I'll let her talk more about the personal statement because she wrote hers herself.
So your personal statement is just for you to write about yourself, why you want to study a certain course, and what you do after the course, how it impacts you, what you do after studying that course. So that's just basically your personal statement, but it has to be your best. Like you give in, you write everything about yourself, why you want to study the course, what you do after studying the course. So that's the only thing about personal statement.
At this point, I would also chip in that when you're writing your personal statement, you should just leave it open and not fill the university. When you've now decided the school you want to apply to, you can now tailor it more to that university. Just write a personal statement about yourself, the course you want to study, and what you plan to do with the course post studies, but then just leave it open. So when you eventually apply to a university, you can easily tailor it towards that particular university. Okay, when you're done with your personal statement, the next thing you need is to do the basic research about schools. Now, I want to study course A. Which schools offer course A? Of course. And then you now have to talk about the location of the school. People would usually tell you that as a first timer in the UK, it's best you avoid London because of the cost of living. So you need to look for a school where the town is much more affordable, because there is housing crisis in the UK, guys. I'm not even kidding you. There's housing crisis. So accommodation is very important. People come into this country and 1 month, 2 months into this country, they are yet to find a place to stay. And that it's going to be a bit more difficult if you're in the high-end towns or cities like London. So people would usually want to avoid schools in London for now and try to apply to schools where the cost of living is low. You also have to think about
Payment of school fees.
yes, payment of school fees.
And how much is your school fees?
Yes.
Because that's very important.
How much is the school fees, and not just how much is the school fees, but how much is the deposit. Some schools will tell you as low as 2,000 deposit. Some schools will go as high as 50% upfront. Then the next thing is
Payment plan.
yes, they usually ask about payment plan.
plan.
How, if you've paid the deposit, how fast? Because her school, University of Sunderland, said you pay 3,500, that's the deposit. But before you start school, you must have completed it to 50%. That was it made us not want to choose Sunderland, but at the end of the day, we said, okay, fine, we can just find our way and regular around it. So that is very important. Payment plan, and then some schools will give you three payments option, like pay in 3 installments. Some will say 7 installments.
Very important, choosing the plan that works for you. It's not about getting admission into school, it is paying that tuition fee. So choose any plan that works for you. If you know you can pay your school fees in less than 6 months, go with the school that has that plan. So the next one after considering your payment
is, I think at this point you have done everything, you've done all your research, you now apply to schools. People would usually say to apply more than 1. Yes, I think how many we applied to 7 schools.
I didn't know more than 7. We applied to so many schools.
So
considered cities.
Because the essence is, so when the whole admissions come, you can now look at the offer letter, look at what is this school requiring, how much is their fees, what is the payment plan, for you to now eventually decide, okay, at the end of it, I'm going to go with school A, I'm going to go to school with school B. So when you've applied and then they've made you an offer, all the schools will most likely make you an offer. Did you apply to any school that didn't make us an offer? No, I think every school applied for.
You'll definitely get an offer.
Yes, made us an offer. And most likely you're going to have a conditional offer. There are conditions to be met. Starting from the payment of the school fees. Some will tell you that you do what they call precast interview. Some will tell you, like, I think there was a school who applied for, I think it was Middlesex, and then they said we should write our personal statement again because they weren't, they wanted a particular thing fitted into the personal statement. So whatever the condition of your offer is, that this is the part where you fulfill all the conditions of the offer. Then the next thing will now be payment of your tuition deposit. This is where there is an issue, because there are options for you. Either you pay, just close your eyes, pay through the black market, or then you do the bank and then Form A. But I will tell you, Form A can be very stressful. You wait for months. I think we waited for over 2 months, Abby. And they still weren't debiting us. We just had to pull our money from the bank and then pay black market. So that is one thing about that. And
but if you can pay through from A, it is cost
effective,
efficient.
like
it's way cheaper.
It's way cheaper because for us to pay,
you have to spend ×2 of that money.
Yeah,
so if you can go pay your school fees through from A, please do it. But if you can't, and you know time is what?
Time is of the essence, because most of these things are going to give you a deadline for you to pay your tuition deposit. So most schools, and once their deadline is up, most times you lose the admission. So if you cannot meet up with the bank, I suggest you just do the black market. So once you've paid your school fees, the next thing is for you to apply for CAS. CAS is confirmation of acceptance of study. That's the document that allows you to apply for student visa. So when you apply for CAS, most schools will require proof of fund before they give you CAS. A few schools will just give you CAS once you apply. So it just depends on your school.
And some school we ask for interview.
Yes,
interview.
Yes.
Like I applied to York St. John. I had to do pre-CAS interview before they
issue the CAS.
So it depends on the school.
So the point is, and if your school would require proof of fund usually would be the balance of your school fees. That's after you've paid your deposit, the balance, then plus the cost of living. I think yes, for 9 months. So cost of living for schools inside London is £1,334. Then you have to multiply by 9, and then schools outside London is £1,024. Yes. So that is what so when you put the cost of living for 9 months and then plus the balance of your school fees, that forms the money you need for proof of fund. And then you usually put it in your Nigerian bank account, and then
a
functional account. It should be account you use, like an account you use every day. There should be inflow outflow of money in the account. You don't just maybe put 9-10 million in account and opening balance 9 million, debit 0, credit 0, closing balance 9 million. No, it's not. It's going to raise a red flag. Yes, so it should be an account that is used continuously. And then another advice I will usually give people is, if your if you calculated with 500, that's what CBN rate is. If you've calculated with, for example, if CBN rate is 500 and you've done your calculation with 500, I would suggest you increase it to 520, 530, so you're safe. Because the thing about proof of fund is, it should not, for the whole 28 days, the money should not go below that particular amount any particular day. If it does, it doesn't qualify. So people would usually, and that's what we did, and that's also my advice, increase the money. If the rate as at the day you're doing your calculation is 500, put 520, put 530, so you're more balanced. So at this point, I think they would.
You wait 28 days.
You wait 28 days. After 28 days, you print your statement and submit, and then you're issued a CAS. With the CAS, you can now apply for a student visa. Guys, for UK admissions and UK visa application, it's quite easy that you can do it on your own in 30 minutes. You just log on to the website and fill the forms yourself. You don't need any agents or anybody to do it for you. You can fill this form on your own online in 30 minutes. And the things you would need to apply for visa now would include your CAS, your admission letter, your degree certificate or statement of result, anyone you're using. Your school have already confirmed that you speak English, so you do most likely is not an essential document, English document, but people just add it. And then you need your TB test, your TB results, your TB certificate, you need it. So most people, while they are waiting for their account to mature for 28 days, they go and book for their TB test and do it. There are only two cities where you can get TB test done. That's Nigeria and Lagos. I think Lagos has two centers. Yes, and that's Abuja and Lagos. And Lagos has two centers as well. So that's a total of 3 centers where you can get your TB test done. So that's, you get it done while you're waiting for your account to mature. So yes, I think the TB test is 57,600. So once you get all that, you can now apply for your visa. The cost of visa is $451. That's the cost of student visa. And then you also have to pay what they call the IHS. That's more or less like insurance. Is $881 if you're applying for your 1-year master's. But if your master's is more than 1 year, the money goes up. If you get to the point where you pay your IHS, they usually ask you to put your course start date and your course end date, and then they will do the calculation for you. But it's around 881 for a 1-year master's and goes as high as 1,000 plus for 2 years master's. It means because once you come into the UK, you're going to register with a GP, and whenever you fall sick, healthcare is free. So that's why you've already paid for the insurance when you're applying for visa.
After applying for visa, you can choose to wait, or you apply for priority.
Yes, you can choose to do the standard visa, which takes about 3 weeks. It can take anything within 2 weeks and 6 weeks, if we're being honest. We were lucky, ours came out 3 weeks on the dot. So I also have someone who's came out in 2 weeks. I know someone who stayed over 7 weeks before they got theirs. So you can also choose to pay for priority. Priority would cost you an additional £250. And then if you are no lawyer, you can pay for super priority. Super priority means your visa comes out the next day, and that's an additional £900. So it depends on what you want, standard priority or super priority. And the process of applying for visa is a whole new topic on its own, and maybe one day she would make a video about that, because I think for the visa there are things you need to do, things you don't need to do about your account and the rest of them. She would find out time and then talk about visa. But once you've applied, you wait, your visa comes out.
You can start preparing to come for your master's and study and school and live in UK. So I think that's basically all we have to say about the whole process of masters. So just look for the school that works best for you, the city that you like, and I think if you go through all this process, definitely you have a positive result. So we've come to the end of this video. If you have any questions to ask, you can leave your questions in the comment section and I'll be answering them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things. So thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. So God bless you. Bye.